What's good, everybody? This is Emerald Knight Leon back with another deck analysis. I know it's been a bit. My throat has been in shambles since Friday, but we may not be in tip-top shape, but we're still gonna. We're well enough now that we can at least get something done. But today, I wanted to actually go over the first deck that I was able to build for EX3, and that's going to be Gallantmon here. Now, Gallantmon is definitely a not as it doesn't have a focus on really killing off your opponent's Digimon. It does not focus on that. What it does focus on is milling your opponent's deck primarily in order to gain advantage over your opponent through trashing security. So to start off, we are running 5 Digimons here. Now, primarily the 4 you want to be running is the EX2 one for the draw power, and then also just the 5th Digimon. It could be the BT2 one, or it could be the one from the starter deck. I just happen to have the alt art from the starter deck 13, if I recall. The one that never got released and was basically relegated to BT10 booster boxes. Yeah, I ended up getting a alt art of that, so I just decided I'd use that. The reason you're running 5 is because the Gallantmon that we are getting in EX3, it digivolves from 0 off of Digimon. So that 1 cost now is a 0, as long as it's digivolving off of one of our Digimons. Now, talking about Gallantmon, we're running 12 Gallantmons here. We have our Takato searching one that lets us also search for Growlmon and Gallantmon from EX2. And then lets us delete a Digimon with 3000 DP or less as an inherited. We have our X Antibody Gallantmon, which has the when digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less, plus the add 1000 to the maximum DP you can choose with your DP based deletion effects. And then we have our new Gallantmon here, who does have an on deletion of delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, trash the top 2 cards of both players' decks. Now, personally, I do like this new Gallantmon. It does let you play a bit more fast and loose, essentially. If you have him out and you also have something going on in your raising, you have a bit more leeway to take pot shots and just hope that you're able to get the milling so that you can just start a chain reaction that's going to eventually lead to you trashing about 2 to 3 security cards at a certain point. Moving into our level 4s, we are running 2 copies of Starter Deck 7 Growlmon. This has the inherited of when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, gain 1 memory. We are running 4 copies of Growlmon X Antibody, also adding plus 1000 to the maximum DP you can choose for DP-based deletion effects. And then we're running 4 copies of Growlmon. Now, this is the one of the errata cards. Its errata was specifically changed when digivolving to on deletion. It is a when digivolving effect. Now, this is an interesting one because you can actually, based on the wording, digivolve 2 if name contains Gallantmon. That means that instead of digivolving for 3, you can actually still digivolve for 2 off of Gallantmon X Antibody because it does contain Gallantmon in the name. Outside of that, it's when digivolving effect. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. If no Digimon was deleted, trash the top 2 cards of both players' deck. It's a very nice effect. Its inherited is actually a lot better, and you could use that to chain with Gallantmon here, where By deleting one of your other Digimon, this Digimon gets security attack +1 for the turn. So how that's going to work is you're going to be in one of your Gallantmons. You're going to have, say, a Guilmon in Raising that you'll just bring out. And then you're going to just kill off that Guilmon, get its on deletion effect, potentially milling 2 more cards, or just taking out one of your opponent's Digimon that can swing it next turn, and then have an extra security check. For our level 5s, we are running 4 copies of the new War Growlmon. Now this has, when Digivolving, trash the top 3 cards of both players' decks. Then if your opponent's trash has 5 or more cards, you may play 1 Guilmon or Tocado from your hand as, or trash without paying its memory cost. Now there's the chaining. You can use Growlmon's effect to play the Guilmon to set yourself up to activate Guilmon's effect. But what we are mainly going for is its trashing mechanics. Because if you don't have your Tocado out, you're going to need to get your Tocado out for the Blitz. Otherwise, go for the Guilmon. We are running 3 copies of War Growlmon X Antibody just because it is an extra Digivolution. You're going to get another draw. And its effect is nice too. You can basically just tag 2 of your opponent's Digimon with on deletion, lose 1 memory, and then if War Growlmon is in its or X Antibody is in its Digivolution cards, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon whose total DP adds up to 6,000 or less, delete them. If you have both Growlmon and Guilmon X Antibodies, that actually becomes 8,000. And then if you already have a Tocado out, you're going to just use Tocado and you're going to gain 3 memory right then and there. What more needs to be said? Moving into our level 6s finally. We are running 6 of them. We are running 3 copies of Gallantmon X Antibody. When Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. If no Digimon is deleted by this effect, unsuspend this Digimon. Your turn, once per turn. When an opponent's Digimon is deleted, if Gallantmon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. This is really here to play into our previous Gallantmon here, which we're not running any of the newer Gallantmons. We're not running Starter Deck 7 Gallantmon. We're not running EX3 Gallantmon. We are running BT2 Gallantmon. Why? It's an 11,000 DP. It doesn't really have that. It's a high DP going for it. We're running it for its when attacking effect. That's why. Its when Digivolving is nice too. If you have a red Tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP. So if your opponent has 2 Digimon, you can use its when Digivolving to delete one of them. Use this when Digivolving to delete the other one. It's all good. But it's the when attacking here that really works with this deck. Trash one of your opponent's security cards for every 10 cards in their trash. With how much we're getting here, it's already going to be, say, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7... Not to mention whatever we're already trashing, they're already trashing from using cards. By the time that we get into our Gallantmon, they should already have about 10 cards in trash. Potentially close to 20 maybe. Which lets you trash 2 cards, getting in a security check. Even if you're just trashing 1, by using Growlmon's effect, you're still gaining a second security check. So that's 2 checks. And if you're not going to attack just yet, or if you do attack, you use your ADP in order to prevent it from dying from security effects. And there are other ways of making it more indestructible. You could run certain cards that we'll talk about that could give it jamming. But this deck does have a lot of means to customize it to your level of caution. But what's really going on is you Digivolve into this, kill off something, swing, trash 1 or 2 cards, possibly get 2 checks in, Digivolve into Gallantmon X Antibody here. It, delete another Digimon. Maybe it unsuspends since a Digimon's deleted. Trash another card from your opponent's security stack. And by the time you go for game, you won't even need to go into Crimson mode. So yeah, there are 2 Crimson modes in here, but you could easily just replace those with Blitz Omnis if you really wanted. The reason I put Crimson mode in here is in case you're going against a recovery stall deck, such as, security control. But at that point, like, you could even go 1-1 on the Blitz Omni and a Crimson mode. It really doesn't matter at that point. For option cards, we are running 1 copy of ADP. Now, you could run 2 instead. Depending on what you would want to take out, that's fine. I want to run an ADP mainly because there are option cards that can just screw me over. And I don't want to deal with that. So I'd rather just be a little bit cautious, We're running 3 copies of Fireball. Fireball is nice just because it does take care of, a potential Digimon that might prevent us from getting the mill effects off of our new line. And then otherwise, it just gives us a draw 2. 2 copies of Red Memory Boost just because, sometimes you don't want to get the Blitz off just yet. You want to just pop that, gain the 2 memory, go to 5 maybe. Digivolve into your Gallantmon, then Digivolve into another Gallantmon after attacking. Then maybe if you wanted, you could Digivolve into Crimson mode before attacking with this thing so that you can just attack with this and just trash everything else for game. It's optional. You can do that. It's all good. There's a lot of freedom in this deck to a degree. But then there's also not a lot of freedom. It's a weird conundrum. It's a paradox of a deck. I feel like I'm both restricted, but I'm liberated. It's weird. Or that just might be me still being down with something. I don't know. Regardless of that, finally we are running 2 copies of X Antibody. Just because, sometimes you might not get the cards you need. You want to have the X Antibody under it if you want to proc, say, War Growl X Antibody's effect or Gallantmon X Antibody's effect. For our Tamers, we're running 4 copies of Takato. What more needs to be said, but we are running at least just 1 copy of Tai Kamiya. If you don't have Tai Kamiya, I'm not going to blame you. I understand. Tai Kamiya is still really expensive. So I don't blame you. If you wanted a different card to play, we can talk about that, but I would recommend Hero. But there are a lot of ways you could play this deck. Like, there's a lot. If you wanted to lean away from the Gallants, there's Megidras. We do have a purple Gigimon here, which is an option if you wanted to do. Banking off of killing off your Guilmon in order to just give an extra 2,000. That's an option. We have the Gigimon here, which is just another 2,000 if an opponent's Digimon's deleted. If you wanted to run more choking potential, there is the Gazimon and Psychmon if you really wanted to do that. Personally, I don't know why you would run this Guilmon, but it's an option. I mean, you're guaranteed to have 5 or more cards in your opponent's trash. So you could get that 1,000 a couple times if you're also running this Growlmon. But, well, actually, no, not if you're running this Growlmon. This is just a completely different Growlmon. If you're running this War Growlmon, though, because then that just gives you plus 2,000. Since you are running this one, it brings you up to 13. If you wanted more draw power, then Promo Guilmon here might work. But given that you are trying to build your stack up, it might not be the best option. If you are needing to blitz your way into things, and your opponent has like a level 6, we do have the starter deck 7 Guilmon. And there are purple Gil lines. I wouldn't suggest the purple Guilmon per se because it does have an on deletion. But this is an interesting one in that it essentially is the same Growlmon that we just got. Like, let me put it this way, okay? Let's read Growlmon's inherited effect. When attacking once per turn, by deleting one of your other Digimon, this Digimon gets security attack +1 for the turn. Okay? Here's Black Growlmon. Your turn once per turn. When one of your other Digimon is deleted, this Digimon gains security attack +1 for the turn. It's the same result, but it's just done differently. You know, it's just, I don't know. It feels a little weird. Otherwise, would not recommend this BT2 Growlmon. Monochromon is an option if you wanted a blocker. We do also have the EX3 Growlmon, just for more focus on deleting your opponent's Digimon. Black War Growlmon is an interesting option, I'll admit. It could let you Digiburst, essentially, just so you could play another Gallantmon. The problem is, because it's a Digiburst 3, you're going to be getting rid of your Growlmon. So, that's the sad part. So, you wouldn't really be able to get Growlmon's effect off. We did talk about this War Growlmon. There is also the EX2 War Growlmon, which adds another 1000 to DP base deletion effects. We have Starter Deck War Growlmon, which just lets you, when you delete an opponent's Digimon, it gains security attack +1. If you wanted to lean with more milling, both Megidramons are viable options, actually. Yes, they are hefty. The BT5 one is cheaper on the Evo because it's a 3 cost, and it does force both players to trash 5 cards from the top of their decks. And its on-deletion effect is nice. Basically, what you will do is you'll just use its effect in order to hard play the BT2 Gallantmon and then just work your way up from there. Otherwise, there is the EX2 Megidramon, which does let you also delete an opponent's Digimon with 10,000 DP or less. And if no Digimon was deleted, then both players trash top 5 cards of their deck. And its on deletion, instead of a Gallantmon, lets you play a Gallantmon and Takato for free from your trash or hand. Now, we did talk about Blitz Omni. There is also Zwart Omni, basically just more milling of your deck, but you do get to hard play up to 2 Digimon with that each have an 8 cost, so you would be able to play either of the new Growlmon or the X-Antibody Growlmon. For options, jamming with high-speed plug-in D is always viable if you really wanted to play a bit more cautiously. Back for Revenge is nice because you could attach it to your Gallantmon and then swing, it dies, you just play him again. Calling from the Darkness, which has been put to 1, is also possibly a viable option. It just lets you get your Gallantmon back. But honestly, I do think Megiddo Flame is a better card. Just because it lets you delete stuff, and then it also has a security effect that lets you play a Gallantmon from trash for free. So you could just play the new Gallantmon, get its on deletion effect again. Now, if you're running a more purple-based variant of this deck, I would say instead of red memory boost, purple memory boost is what you want to go for. Some red options like Crimson Blaze, Atomic Megalo Blaster, Offensive Plug-in A, and Lightning Joust are always recommended. But I would like to actually recommend Radiation Blade, because it actually gives security attack +1 to up to 2 of your Digimon. Yes, it's a 3 cost. Yes, it doesn't have a security effect that will let it go to your hand. But just having at least maybe a 1 of could be very nice to have if you wanted to try to OTK at that turn. Otherwise, emergency program shutdown is always nice. And for Tamers, I would say Matt Ashita, since you are deleting your Digimon, you could proc him to gain memory. Alice McCoy, because you can just delete your stuff in order to reduce the cost to going to level 6 by 3. And then Mimi, just because you are using option cards, this can help lower that cost. But that is it for this deck analysis. I'm sorry if I just coughed right now. I am still getting better. I'm not in tip-top shape, but I am. My voice is well enough that I can actually record now. I really wanted to get this out on, God, Saturday or Sunday, but just like my voice was not letting me, and I'm sorry for that. Hopefully, I'll be much better, in the coming days. I am going to slowly try to get these videos out since we do have a lot more time in this set until BT11. But I hope you enjoyed this. Tell me what you think about it in the comments, Give it a like, subscribe if you're interested in more of these deck analysis. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.